pretty much everything you need to know about taming and using a Ferox in ARK Survival Evolved. Ferox can only be located within the Arctic biome of the ARK Genesis DLC map. They primarily spawn within the blizzard-stricken area to the east, however there is also a cave located at 7026 next to the Searching the Frozone mission that houses quite a few of them. I mean, just look how cute they are. Oh my god. Just be aware that the cave is also full of high-level dire bears that want to chew your f***ing face off. Due to their small size and skittish nature, Ferox can be rather hard to locate out in the open, so using something like Tech Thermal Vision or the Bloodstalker's heat tracking can be quite useful. If you're still having trouble locating them, just listen for the echoes of Goro and the vague werewolf ambience to bag yourself an evidently ripped-off version of the Mogwai. I mean, come on! So once you've located yourself an adorable little furball, you can finally bear witness to one of the most consistently broken tames since ARK's initial release. Legitimately, I think I would have had an easier time acquiring footage of a f***ing space launch than a clean Ferox tame. But hey, it's not like they had months of delays or time to fix their right? Ferox are passively tamed by placing Element on any slot of your hotbar and then gently approaching the little guy. When in close enough proximity, you'll be prompted to feed it Element by pressing the corresponding key binding. This will initiate the taming process. Oh, Jesus Christ, what the Ferox will transform into an aggressive state each time that they're fed Element, or on rare occasions when they first approach you. During this time frame, the Ferox will attack anything and everything they see for a short amount of time. After about 20 seconds of blind rage, the Ferox will revert back into its smaller form and fall unconscious. Once it awakens, simply repeat the process of feeding it Element and waiting out the clock until taming is complete. To ease this whole process, I would recommend using one of the following taming methods. Method number 1 is to first bolo the Ferox and quickly place a structure around it before beginning the taming process. Bear traps can also be placed down to trap it for longer to ensure you finish the structure before it escapes. Doing this will prevent the Ferox from attacking anything nearby, or conversely, being attacked while attempting to tame it. Unfortunately, this method doesn't always work because of the Ferox's busted mechanics when it transforms, so be ready to act if things go south. Yo, I'm about to roll out! Please note that this method will not work within the Ferox cave because it is building blocked by the nearby mission terminal. Method number 2 is to initiate the taming process as normal, and then use grappling hooks or a Bloodstalker to pull yourself away when it transforms. Once it is reverted back into its passive state, lower yourself back down and repeat the process until taming is complete. The Bloodstalker's grapple can also be used to hold the aggressive Ferox in place, which assures it doesn't wander too far or start a fight with something it can't handle before its enragement ends. And finally, method number 3 is to simply bolo the enraged version of the Ferox to keep it at bay while you wait on it to revert back into its smaller form. This is by far the easiest and most cost-efficient method, however it has the potential to be fixed with upcoming patches. Upon the release of ARK Genesis, players were able to tame the Ferox using traditional knockout methods, however this has been fixed as of patch 307.2. Alright, so now that you've tamed your very own Meth Furby, let's cover some of its basic mechanics and core functionality. While in its smaller form, the Ferox will sniff out and accumulate element dust from the nearby environment. In order for it to do this, it must be following the player. The Ferox can also be picked up and carried around on the player's shoulders, giving similar hyperthermic and hypothermic benefits as the Otter. Outside of looking absolutely adorable, these are about the only functions it has in its non-aggressive state. In order to transform the Ferox into its aggressive state, it must be fed Element in a process similar to how you tamed it. The amount of Element that's required to transform it depends on the Ferox's current addiction level, up to a maximum of 5 Element. Addiction is based solely on the amount of Element that the Ferox has been fed in the past and how long it has been since its most recent transformation. The higher the Ferox's addiction level, the stronger it will become, gaining upwards of 200% melee damage, 50% attack damage, and 25% damage resistance. As a side effect, the duration of the time that can be spent in its aggressive state is reduced by up to 90 seconds. The wiki page suggests that getting the Ferox to 100% addiction has the potential to enrage it and kill the player riding it, but I was unable to reproduce this within my testing. Addiction levels will decrease passively over time when the Ferox is in its smaller form. While in its enraged state, the Ferox is able to be mounted and ridden like many other creatures in ARK, and all of its core functions and abilities change. The Ferox features a left mouse button claw attack that does moderate damage, a right mouse button stomp attack that applies a hinder, jump prevention, and can dismount other players from their tames, a C-key boulder throw ability, a spacebar jump ability, and the ability to climb onto surfaces with the spacebar, similar to the Deinonychus. While Ferox cannot be saddled, helmets can be equipped to provide them with armor for improved damage reduction. Considering helmet blueprints can have some pretty crazy armor values, this can make the Ferox extremely tanky, at the cost of repairing the helmets, of course. Ferox feature a momentum-based jumping system where they accumulate more speed as jumps are performed in succession. As long as the terrain isn't too rough, they can achieve some pretty crazy acceleration. Couple this with their ability to scale surfaces and no fall damage, and you have yourself a rather versatile travel companion. The Ferox's boulder throw ability can be used to wipe out enemy creatures or Plan X species from afar, and can even be used while attached to surfaces. The rock throw is actually pretty accurate and has a decent area of effect to it, making it far superior to their Fantastic Four-inspired cousins.
That's a lot of damage.
Despite all of their benefits, Ferox certainly have some disadvantages as well. Their consumption of element makes them a rather costly creature to maintain, and their glitchy mechanics make them difficult to use sometimes. Even though recent patches have fixed a lot of bugs, players are still reporting missing Ferox upon loading in, meshing issues, and general dysfunction with them sometimes not being able to transform at all. While the idea of having such a versatile creature sitting on your shoulder sounds awesome, they're extremely vulnerable in their smaller form, meaning that if you die, they'll more than likely die shortly after. Even in their aggressive state, they're quite lacking in the health department considering they can't be saddled, with their only saving grace being their ability to equip helmets as armor. They can also be feared by the Uteranus, which makes them rather obsolete in a lot of fights. So with all this in mind, what is the Ferox's main use, aside from making me question reality every time it transforms?
Jesus Christ.
Well, while the Ferox can be extremely versatile in a lot of areas, I consider it to be primarily a boss encounter mount or a PvP mount. Regardless of your purpose, you'll want to invest mainly into health and damage, with optional point investment into weight or stamina. Movement speed only affects the Ferox's smaller form, so it's a virtually useless stat to invest points into. The Ferox's insanely high damage, fast attack speeds, and ability to equip helmets that far surpass armor levels of Ascended tier saddles makes it a mount of choice for many players in boss encounters or missions on Genesis. In fact, I've seen quite a few posts and videos of players soloing encounters with nothing but a single Ferox. Recent changes to these fights have made them far more difficult though, so I doubt this is still feasible. The Ferox is highly sought after for PvP scenarios given its devastating damage output and overall maneuverability. Its primary attack can be used while moving to knock back enemy players, and its stomp ability can hinder the opponent from getting away. Whether it's on the front lines as DPS or acting as an opportunistic dismounter, the Ferox can certainly change the tide of a fight with only a few of its unique abilities. Alright, well that about wraps up this video. If you enjoyed, please be sure to give the video a like down below, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and leave me comments because...
Can't get to school now.